Well, hello and welcome to our backyard garden. This is episode 18 and a half, kind of a supplemental episode that I'm doing on a Tuesday afternoon. Usually I do these on the weekends, but we have a number of things that have started to come out in the past few days, and I wanted to show them off before they were done. So this will be a little bit shorter than our typical videos, but we'll kind of focus on daylilies and a few other things. We'll start off here with our cleome, doing very well. More and more of them are getting to a point where they're ready to flower. We've got our little cleome forest over in here, much denser and widespread than last year. We're hoping that this area will just continue to spread in the coming years. These are so pretty and so dominant, and they're low maintenance too. They just come up from seed every year, and the more we get, hopefully the more seeds and the more plants that we'll get in the future. And actually, I just noticed something. Typically these have come up in pink color and a kind of a lavender light purple color. Actually, I have a white one. This is the only one that I've seen that is white in color. I suppose you could claim that it's just a very, very pale pink, but it's lighter than any of the others that I've seen so far, which is kind of neat. We had more of these growing down in the stones here, but they inadvertently got sprayed by our landscape people who were spraying weed killer in the yard, and so some of those have died off, but the ones here growing up out of the patio are doing very well. Got some others over there, so we're going to have a lot of flowers before the season is done. Now, coming on down through here, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this area. This area is kind of done. This is our early spring garden. There's one thing that I'll show off, and that's liatris. This is a bulb that goes in. It's kind of an unusual flower, this long stalk, and it's going to continue to open up over the next couple of weeks. We've got one down here as well. We have one in the front yard, but for the most part, this area is kind of quiet right now. We have these big oriental lilies here, but they just finished up. We've got the last few petals on this one, but otherwise those are done for the year. And interestingly, just in the past week, we've started to see some of the buds for the big white hydrangeas coming out. We have 4 of those, and they are kind of taking over this part of the yard. So we're probably going to have to make some changes in the years to come so that things don't completely get covered up or end up in the shade where they don't belong. And here we have some more oriental and Asiatic lilies. Down in here, we just put these bulbs in a few weeks ago, and they're already doing well. Now, if you see all these white spots on the leaves, that is not mildew. That is the residue from liquid fence, which we keep on there to prevent rabbits and deer from eating them. Those are a very favorite dietary addition for our little rodent friends, or our rodent enemies, as the case may be. More lilies coming up here, so we're going to be getting a lot more flowers as the year progresses. We just bought a calla lily here, put it in. It's looking a little sad. It needs some water, but hopefully that'll come up next year. We have a lot of calla lilies over in the other sections of the yard, but this is the only one we've had over here. We're trying to kind of branch out a little bit, and Jenny's also been busy putting in some begonias, which will look really nice. Hopefully they'll do well here. We have not done begonias in this area in the past. We also have creeping Jenny, which is just a ground cover, very pretty ground cover plant. And then back here, behind the begonias, we have some really nice impatiens. If you've watched any of our videos in the past, we've struggled with impatiens. We had most of our impatiens back here along our pathway into the woods, and they did well for a couple of years, and then last year we had some really nice New Guinea impatiens, and they did not do well at all. They barely bloomed, and a lot of them died off early on. So the expense of those made it not worthwhile to repeat that mistake. But we went with some of the more standard impatiens here. We'll see how they do. They'll get a little bit more light. We're not sure if the ones back in the woods here had maybe a little too much shade. They do well with partial shade, but you don't want to do too much. Like everything in gardening, it's all about moderation. Now here we're going to show off some of the daylilies that have opened up. A beautiful one here, multicolored, yellow throat, 2 shades of pink, and then this one here with tremendous ruffles and just a peach and yellow color, and then this one kind of a lemon yellow, almost looks like a kind of a blueberry colored, I don't know what you call it, midsection, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorites. Also a favorite of mine is this lemon yellow one, doing very well. And we've had some of these fairly hybrid type daylilies for a number of years. It's taken a while for them to get to this point. A lot of them started out small, and it took a while before they really started to grow. But this is overall the best that they've done this year. Back in here we have our astilbe, just about finished already. Unfortunately, they don't last terribly long. Once the weather gets hot, they're pretty well done. We had 4 distinct colors: white, red, light pink, and a dark pink, almost a purple color. And they're all pretty much finished up. And then our hostas back in here, not quite ready to bloom yet, but they're still doing very well. And then, as I say, I'm going to have a little bit of an abbreviated tour of the garden today. I'm not going to go into everything, including things that are not doing terribly well or that are finished for the year. But I do want to show off these daylilies, kind of an interesting color of bright yellow and dark red. And sort of the opposite of that over here, these doing very well. We had a similar one in the front yard that I said looked sort of like the University of Michigan color, or not Michigan, but Minnesota colors. And then this one, not facing us, but I wanted to show it off. Beautiful sort of peach color with all these ruffles. These are just amazing, absolutely beautiful. And another sort of more of a pinkish peach daylily over here. And these are doing really well. This one is about done for the day. I think we can see back in here. Yeah, kind of hard with the shadows to really show these off, but to really appreciate the colors. But they look really nice. And a couple of the Asiatic lilies down here doing really well. The white with the red specks. We have a lot more Asiatic and Oriental lilies over here that are going to come along at some point. Our knockout rose, and as I say, a lot of other things that are kind of done for the time being, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those. We'll do those on the weekend. Got a climbing rose here. It's about 7 feet in height. It's got some beautiful pink flowers on it. This is a strange plant. I talk about this one a lot. It struggles with black spot. In fact, it has very few leaves on it at this point, but it keeps putting out flowers. It doesn't seem to mind that its leaves are all gone. Over in here, this is where the term cottage garden really starts to make sense. That is what Jenny has always wanted. Where you have a lot of different things all growing next to each other, lots of different colors, some sort of overlapping with each other in terms of time, but here we have Veronica, and as always, our Veronica have lots of bumblebees on them, This is probably the single most popular flower for bumblebees in our garden right now. And then we have Sweet William, a type of dianthus, doing well, that dark pink back in there. Some small zinnias here, and then more calla lilies. We have about 10 calla lilies in the yard. Some doing better than others. These orange ones are really, really pretty. This is the oldest group. It's probably the largest group right now with these pink flowers. These calla lilies are absolutely worth the money if you see them at your local stores. They're low maintenance, but they do very well, and they give you these beautiful flowers that last for a while, usually a couple weeks at least, and there's not much that you have to do with them. Now, the backdrop of all this is primarily jasmine and clematis and some climbing roses. We still have some jasmine flowers out, but they peaked a few weeks back, as did the clematis. So the backdrop here is going to be kind of quiet for a little while, but some of these things will come back intermittently as the year progresses. And we have another butterfly bush over here, the bright purple color, doing well. I'm not sure how long this will last. This is the latest one in the yard to come out, so hopefully it'll still give us some color for a while. And then we come over here. This has been a difficult part of the yard for us. I will say we have this ice plant that or at least I call it that. It's not actually ice plant, but it has these little delicate yellow flowers that are in bloom right now. I apologize for not having the correct name on that one, but I keep intending to get the correct name. I just keep forgetting. We've had a lot of trouble, though, growing things in this part of the yard. We had some nice large roses that were eaten down to the ground by deer over the winter, but one has just come back here out of nowhere in the last couple of weeks, and it has some buds on it already, so we'll see what that one does. We had a red and a peach and a white knockout rose, so we'll see what comes of those. We have some dahlias here, begonias. This area we have trouble getting it watered because of the way our sprinkler system is, unfortunately, but we'll see if we can do some hand watering, and maybe that'll help. Our clematis back in here, we've got a few flowers, but most of those are kind of dormant for the time being. They'll give us some more flowers later on, but for right now they're kind of quiet. I sprayed a lot of weed killer back in here over the weekend, so this area doesn't look so good right now, although our wisteria is doing fine. And then coming around to this side, back out into the sunlight, we have our canna. Not to be confused with calla lilies. This is canna. Not my favorite flower, but every once in a while we get some of these very tropical looking flowers. They do alarmingly well in this area. They're very invasive. They grow a lot, but unfortunately they don't like the soil that they're in, and they have just in general given us a lot of greenery without a lot of flowers. As I say, I'm showing this one off because it's the only one out of this whole area that is in bloom. Now over in here we have black-eyed Susans, which will bloom later in the year, and then we have some natural wild daylilies. These will bloom in another couple of weeks, although over here where we get a little different sun pattern, some of these are already in bloom, and they are kind of a double type of daylily. If you look closely at them, it's like a flower within a flower. These were given to us, and they have spread like wildfire over the last 3 or 4 years since we put them in. But we have just the first ones coming out this week, and then we'll have certainly more in the coming weeks. So in early July we'll have those, or I should say late June and early July, and then the black-eyed Susans will follow typically about a month later. Those really start to come out in August and into September. So we've tried to overlap these flowers as much as possible so that we have color throughout the year. Now coming back up to the house, this is a little easier to photograph because we're in shade, so the lighting is a little more consistent. Beautiful daylily here, some more Veronica, and more daylilies. Just quite a mix. We've tried to put as many different colors in here as possible. These little lemon yellow ones, and then these darker ones here. One's more of a lavender color, and then even a darker lavender color here. We've got a lot of little seedlings here. I think these are all vinca coming up, so hopefully we'll get some color out of those before long. We've got, oh, I see now, getting Japanese beetles chewing away on our calla lilies. It's the first time I've seen those, so we're gonna have to get the 7 out to try to eradicate those as much as we can. Got a huge hosta back in here with its purple flowers. Another calla lily, more daylilies. This one is huge, it's about 6 inches across, and more varieties. Everything's sort of a variation of about 4 or 5 different themes, but you get some like this that are a little bit more, a little darker or a little more pale, but it's always fun to look at them and just kind of enjoy the different colors. And finally we have this big Asiatic lily doing really well, wide open. It has several more buds that are going to open up. This is one of the bigger ones that we have. It's another one that's about 6 or 7 inches across, and it's worth showing off. We have a dark red calla lily here, and of course our climbing pink rose. It's kind of in an in-between phase right now. Unfortunately, if you look closely, it's covered with Japanese beetles. So the 7 is going to come out after this video for sure. Gotta get rid of those, or we are not going to have any roses at all. They will take over in no time. Over here, one more hosta, and that just about brings us to the end. So as I said, a little bit of an abbreviated version of our video today. Just kind of showing off some of the new things before they're gone. Really at all times of the year, spring, summer, especially, things will come and go, and you have to kind of show them off when they're out. So hope it's sunny wherever you are. It's been sunny here today, and in the mid 80s. Right now it's back down to about 80 degrees itself. Perfect timing for a video like this. And until next time, happy gardening.